your philosophy on supervision?
For me, it's important that people have a sense of empowerment in the job that they have. So if there's a task at hand, they should feel that they can impact not only their job, but the jobs of others around them. When you empower your folks, it gives them a feeling of value. They're more productive, and there's a sense of pride in their work. And for me, if people are working hard and they're valued, it's very difficult for them to burn out. So my goal is to empower all my folks that the things that they do on a daily basis really will impact the job and those around them.
Okay, so how do you differentiate between supervision and evaluation?
I would say that evaluation is a means of providing feedback to an individual. So if there are gaps in knowledge, if there are developmental opportunities that they have, that's pretty much the function of evaluating. Supervising it is more of ensuring that all the pieces that you have are working appropriately. It comes down to managing time, managing resources, understanding caseloads, things like that. I think supervision is a global review of all the resources you have and ensure that you're using them appropriately.
Okay. How do you manage your time around the long hours of your job and family? How do you cope with job-related stress, too?
I manage my time. I'm usually always at work. I'm extremely focused. I hold myself accountable to my production, to my team, and to my organization. So I am in the office for a large chunk of my days and weekends. So I'm struggling with finding that balance. But when I am out of the office, I'm out of the office. I don't think about work. I don't talk about work. I try to separate myself once I'm outside of the office. So
okay.
I think there is some balance there. I need to be out of the office more, but I've seen individuals who, they work their 40 hours, but they're still thinking about work when they're home. They're doing work-related things, and I don't want to do that. So,
do you think that since you have that segregation between your job and your personal life, meaning that you leave work at work, you don't mix the two, do you feel like you have low stress because of that, or do you sometimes still find stressful moments?
I mean, I get stressed out, but I know that once I get home, those things don't really matter anymore. Plus, I don't think stress really gets you anywhere, so I try to be at peace with what I bring to the table. If there are gaps in my development, I know that I need to work on that, so I'm not going to stress myself out about it.
Awesome. Very focused. What are the things that you enjoy most about being a supervisor?
I would say seeing people grow and develop. In my prior role, I was a trainer, so I trained individuals on how to handle claims, and I was able to see them grow a little bit. And in a supervisory role, if I provide feedback on a weekly or monthly basis, my goal is to see some type of growth or development over a series of, usually a series of time. You want to see those critiques, those opportunities diminish. If I tell someone that they need to communicate more to the claimants that call in, and I check a month down the line and they're not doing that, then it's really important for me to provide that feedback and track that for them, let them know how that's affecting their productivity. So I think for me, it's really being able to manage their development and manage their growth, because a complacent worker is not going to be productive. If I present things that they need to change, and they're actively changing, then they're growing as an individual, they're growing as an employee. So they're a better asset to the organization.
So what are some things that you dislike or like least about supervising?
It kind of goes hand in hand with what I like the most.
Okay.
When you're developing and reviewing someone's growth in the role, you have to provide them feedback. And providing negative feedback is always difficult because some people take that type of feedback they take it to heart. I mean, it's very tough to deal with someone telling you that you're not doing your job or you're not doing your job well. So it's difficult for me to be effective or provide that feedback effectively because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Because at the end of the day, your intent is positive. You're letting them know this because you want them to be better at their job. You're not letting them know that they're not doing a good job just to hurt their feelings or just to make them feel inadequate. So it's finding that balance when you need to provide them a tough message. You can always soften the blow. You can always provide them opportunities to have discussions on, where do you feel you are in your role, and then go from there. But I think it's always hard to give negative feedback, especially when you have nice individuals in your organization. You really don't want to hurt their feelings. So,
is technology an intricate part of your job?
Most definitely. That's how we track, productivity. We track everything from calls coming in to claims. So we all have models for which we're measured, and everything that we're measured on is centered around the technology that we have within the organization. So it's a pivotal part of what I do on a daily basis.
Do you believe that there's ever too much technology within your job?
I wouldn't say that. It's such a pivotal part. I think that there's too little. Because I know other organizations who they function a lot smoother based on the technology that they currently have, and that's a gap in our organization that we're currently trying to fill. So, I mean, it's such an integral part to the job that there are opportunities for us to beef it up a little bit.
So you're advocating for more use of the technology. Do you think it would help you get your job done more efficiently?
I think that's an accurate statement.
Okay. Does it make it easier in supervising others?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. What are the most important things you look for during an observation when you're observing your employees?
I would say confidence in the knowledge that they have. It's really important for me to understand their perspective on the job. So when I'm observing them, I want to see them really try to excel. I don't want people to be comfortable with status quo. So I want to see people go the extra mile. If they're talking to an individual on the phone, I want to hear that they're answering all their questions appropriately, that their tone is appropriate, and that there's confidence in the information that they're providing the other person on the other end of the phone. And I want them to be thorough. I want them to focus on risk and risk management. So my main goal is I want to be confident that they have the tools and resources to do their job. So when I'm observing them, I want to see that they're using those things appropriately. And if there's a gap, if for some reason they're not navigating the system well, if they're fumbling around the system, those are the things that I can provide feedback, and hopefully going forward they can fix that.
So would you say that you have a good rapport with your employees?
I would say so. I think I have a lot of credibility because I did the job, I trained, there are a couple people on my team that I actually train myself. So I do have a relationship with my staff and a good rapport.
That's extremely important, and that's awesome because there's a lot of supervisors that lack that.
Yeah.
So I know that sometimes when you are a supervisor, you have to change certain, maybe rules or just the way certain things are done in the office. Now, what do you do when you try to change something and your staff seems resistant to it?
I think the biggest thing behind change is people are unwilling to do it if they don't know the reason why the change is important. So before you roll out any change, you have to manage that why factor. If they understand the root of things changing, whether it be, if say we were changing our telephone system at my job, we have to be able to communicate to them that because of the businesses that we have and the businesses that we serve, this new system is going to be totally appropriate and help us function as an organization. We can let them know that our competitors they're using the same technology, so we really need to fall in line. So bridging that gap between the change and why it needs to be done, it's really important.
Now, are you the type of supervisor, and I'm going to go ahead and probably say you're not, but just throwing it out there, are you the type of supervisor that feels the need to micromanage, or are you comfortable delegating other tasks to your staff?
I think I'm now getting comfortable with delegating.
Okay.
Just because I'm still evaluating my staff to see what their strong suits are and where they have opportunities to grow and develop. So at this point, I have started to delegate tasks to them, so they're more comfortable, they have more ownership of their role. They can hold themselves and their teammates accountable for those things. And I think I talked about empowering your staff. That's a part of empowering them. They have more of a stake in the success of the team and the organization because they played a pivotal part in executing.
Are there certain tasks or jobs that you just consider this is for me and you won't delegate to them?
Yes. Whether it's me feeling that it's best for me to handle, or my manager or my boss saying, okay, all the team leaders, this is something that you have to focus on. It's not something you can delegate. So it usually comes from the top. There's really nothing that I feel uncomfortable with delegating, but just a function of the role, there's some things that we really can't delegate.
So do you find it hard supervising, or is it something that comes naturally now? Are you comfortable with it?
I think supervising is always going to be hard. You're always going to be placed in situations that are uncomfortable, whether it be you're managing someone's performance, they're not doing well, and either you're trying to usher them out of the organization or really help them grow and get to a point where you're comfortable with them in the role. Those are very difficult situations to be involved with, no matter how long you've been a supervisor or manager. But it really takes time. I think I'm getting more comfortable in the role. I enjoy it. I enjoy, working with my staff and just my organization in general. And I think it's something that comes natural to me to be a leader, whether it be in the classroom, outside the classroom. So I see myself in a supervisor role well into the future.
Excellent. Well, you sound like an awesome supervisor to have.
Thank you.
So I know you're an amazing friend, so I'm sure that